Thanks very much, Honorable Speaker. I will start on this issue of ISRC. The ISRC, I feel like, is not taken serious by the institution. How so? In terms of budget-wise, there is no budget that is available for the ISRC so that they can be able to operate in the institution. But then again, it's difficult to say you can hold a program as an ISRC because of distance in terms of geographical location of those campuses. Then the budget that must be injected for ISRC must be for maybe travel purposes within institution. Also, the SRC must have at least in a campus, for example, here in PCC, there is Postem that is far away. Then going to Postem, you are still within the same campus that is PCC. It's difficult to get a transport even to this same campus. So there must be a designated transportation so that there can be an easy transportation within the campus, maybe from ZMK to NMD, from NMD to ZMK. Then again, the issue of mandatory seats that are being not be able to be recalled, that particular individual that he have ascended to be in that mandatory seat, that one also must be attended to. If I was sent by an organization to that mandatory seat, again, that particular organization must have a right to recall me, because you will find out that even that thing of mandatory vis-a-vis individual, if a person can ascend Nyan individually so, and then be allocated maybe a budget of 120, then that individual, how is going to spend that 120 without maybe to say he or she is affiliated to a certain organization? Then again, the term of office for the SRC must go straight with the term of office for your academic society, your SGC and so forth, because you will find out that it is difficult for the academic officer to even know who is leading in those societies, because you find out that they are elected when the other term is lapsing for the SRC. It's when there is a new academic society that is going to. And then again, I vehemently reject the ideas to say mass meeting must be chaired by the SGC. No, we can't allow that. Then, I think that is that.
Thank you so much. Honorable Snetemba.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Speaker, mine is not long, it's very short, Speaker. Speaker, ndizothetha straight nge-academic societies elections eyona nto indiaffectayo, Speaker, kakhulu kula office yam as academic officer yaseMthatha. Speaker, yindawo enkulu kakhulu leya yaseMthatha, inkulu uhlobo loba ungangamna control, ngeke uzive zonke ingxaki zabafundi pha noba kuthiwa wenza kanjani kungekho bantu bakusupplementayo. Speaker, ndizoqala apho na Speaker, i-academic societies pha eMthatha kudla ngokuba yi-10, yabo. So Speaker, i-proposal yami yokuqala, in fact i-submission yam Speaker, ndirhalela Speaker pha zihliselwe ziyoba yi-5 eza members academic societies. Why ndisitsho speaker? It's not about uba inamba ingakanani kulando yokulida wena speaker. It's about uba ngubani owenza umsebenzi. Because speaker uzofumana pha unochairperson, uno-secretary of which wazasebenza boyi-2 abanye abantu abasabonakali. Kulula ke speaker ukubamba abantu noko inamba encane uyibambe be-accountable. So speaker abantu ke speaker njengo ndithi mababe yi-5 bazo account honorable speaker. Ba account every 3 months mabazo accounta ofisini yakho speaker members zakwakho ezia apha kwi SGC yabo as SRC nayo ireport yayibo. So speaker again moving speaker as elections hayi academic societies mazibe kunye ndiyavumelana namaqabane athi mazibe kunye ne-elections ze-SRC zenze kanjani ngo-speaker because aloku asizukwazi uba sibe ne-elections ze-SRC lapha siphinde sibe neze-academic societies ngexesha elinye. Asizumazi uba ngubani owenza i-engineering ngubani owenza u-education because sobe sivotisa vele yabo.
Sorry, Speaker. For record purposes, could you please clarify, are you speaking of academic societies or faculty councils? So that we know you are saying Magonyule academic societies or you are talking in reference to faculty councils?
There is a council of faculties, a constitutor, the societies, you see. So, ndine faculties emthatha ziyi-5, zoyi-5 zine academic societies zazo. Kunyanzelekile uba kwa health makube khona umuntu wa health okhokeleyo owazi issues zakwa health yayibo. So abantu ndithetha ngabo speaker ndithetha nge-academic societies straight. I-faculty council speaker i-constitutor ngu-chairperson bonke bezi faculties babe yi-5 plus no-academic office bayokwenza i-faculty council faculties hlobo endiyiqhuba ngalo speaker pha campusini yami. So speaker xa ndisithi ezi elections maziconductwe simultaneously speaker not really simultaneously okanye ngeli xesha linye, not really. Makubekho ezi elections ze-SRC namhlanje, next week makube khona i-SRC elections ze-societies just for i-convenience wena speaker. Speaker again ndiyavumelana namaqabane athi i-term mayiphele okanye iqale ngo-April. Why ndisitsho speaker? Okay.
There's a hand. Please do come, Amanda, Honorable Amanda.
On a point of order, Speaker, I'm raising on a point of order with regard to utterances of Honorable Billiard. He has done it before, Ndatula, where Pinango Westbin is referring to us as Amaqabane, of which in this house we are all honorable members. Ako Qabane Apa, Ako Africa, Ako Julius Malema's favorite. So everyone here is an honorable member. Please be in order, Honorable Billiard. Thank you very much, Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Amanda.
Thank you.
Please be cautioned, Honorable Snetemba.
I withdraw my letter. Thank you very much for your assistance, my leader. And I libala lendo yakho honorable. Leadership, in term of office, honorable speaker, term of office ndiyavumelana nayo speaker. Uba mayiqale ngo-April. Reason being speaker kudala amaqabane ezibeka izizathu apha. But speaker njengoba izoqala pha ngo-April speaker i-term of office. Siyayazi speaker nathi in fact awube kuthiwa sifuna ukuphuma officeini because izobonakala kanjalo ebantwini ba siyayixoxela lento yokuphuma officeini. Speaker lento kudala isibetha ufika pha speaker uxelela uba ngena pha kulamnyango ungene kulamnyango ungene kulamnyango uxela into ezingekhoyo zodwa speaker yabo. So please wena speaker man ndiyayicela lento nami ndiyayisupporta man ndithi ndiyayisupporta speaker. I-budget speaker ye-ISRC andiyazi uba singayenza ngoluphi uhlobo because i-budget ye-SRC ithathwa kwi-students. Yabo I don't know uba singaproposa maybe ke uba mayibe i-budget ezisoyinikwa sisikolo because funeka sibe nayo nendlela uyazi basoyigenerate njani le budget. Yabo. So again wena speaker besike saxoxa apha kule constitution ngento ye-legal status se-SRC of which wena speaker andifuni uba side sibe siyaxoxa sonke sikhange siyitashe laa nto ye-legal status but la legal status wena speaker siyayiqonda uba anoko asikho bahle kakhulu apha emithethweni but sinaye uadvocate ngaphakathi apha endlini siyarhalela uba azasolisele nje laa ndawo iyodwa nje leya asiyixoxa nokuyixoxa because singase sibhude kakhulu. Thank you very much speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Snetemba. Advocate Tia, could you please clarify us with regards to the issue of a legal status? Please come to the podium.
Nkosi Speaker, I think by the time you were noting hands was not as an incident, and also I don't think there's a way mhlawumbe ngakhona any question again engafana le esandokubuzwa apha ezawufuna advocate kwakhona. You understand? And number two, I think we have agreed as a house that abana status sokuba naso endlini, but as we speak bayayiva basithini mhlambe would be advised other way around because umzekelo necouncil ihleli lapha isibukelo yabo. So whatever, but we must advise in a way that going to benefit us, but not ba sithi besixhobisa sifike sesilindwe ngalanto epha ngaphambili. So I'm saying before uba niyavumelana house ba makeze allow other honorable members to come so that if ever there's any question efuna yena ayiclubhe nayo angayiphendula question one by one. Enkosi Speaker.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Honorable Sandile. I think we are going to proceed with that approach. Thank you for the assistance. It was Honorable Kaju.
Yeah, thank you, Speaker. Zoqala kwi SOP, the standard operating procedure document. Kule constitution, esi reviewayo, we must put it clear and on record that this current standard operating procedure that we are using, we are scrapping because the document does not, it's inconsistent with itself. There are parts there that talks about George Campus. There is no George Campus here. There's no George Campus. So that tells you that whoever was drafting the document maybe was trying to do this thing of benchmarking, but he ended up or she ended up copying a document of another institution situated that side of the province. So the House Speaker challenging you, the House, maybe there must be another standard operating procedure, but not this one, because it is not. Two, the issue or that part of model of the Constitution, be it maybe it's hybrid or first past the post. Me personally, I think ku right la kulo hybrid model esimuva ngayo, but sifuna ukuthi si amende kwezi ndawo singacacelwa kuzo. Then kube into ye gender balance in the SRC. You see, this constitution, ever since this constitution, ever since that they introduced it and said political structures are no longer allowed to contest the mandatory seats, that has created i-SRC ke ngoku i-posture yayo ibonakale njenge-men's forum. SRC inimthatha, I think they are 11, but 9 are males, only 2 females or 1. Just like Benenden's apparently, it's only Honorable Anat that she's here. It's this constitution. Now, Jongaga, if political formations were still contested in that mandatory, that was not going to happen, because firstly, you balance the gender. That is even 50-50 gender equality. That is even in the Constitution of the Republic. And all these structures, they have a duty that when they make deployment, gender is balanced. Now, if you allow a political organization to also contest that top 5 or those mandatory seats, they will deploy and the gender will balance. So basically, this constitution, by saying they were no longer wanting political organizations to contest mandatory seat, they were then indirectly so making the SRC to look like men's forum. Are we then going to go, we are inconsistent because we must at the same point promote gender equality? We are inconsistent. Now, this point here of gender, like I said, I see that this can be fixed if namanye honorables ebeseshilo ukuthi allow political structures to also contest there in the top 5. Also individuals will contest also in the PR seats, also allow individuals to contest PR, also allow political structures to contest PR. I see no confusion here in this thing of contestation. Why will not contest? Why political structures will not contest certain seats? SGC, campus SGC. Campus SGC, there in that section, we must make campus SGC or SGC or even just IGC, let us be very clear. SGC will never be bigger than SRC. Let us be clear firstly on that one. SRC will remain big. But SGC, it must be written black and white that SGC, campus SGC, must hold the campus, must be the body that holds the campus SRC accountable. It must be compulsory for the SRC to go there and account, in as much as they are big. For me, that can help sort out many problems, because we'll never have unnecessary things if maybe we know that every Friday, not Friday, no. Maybe every Monday late for 2 hours, the campus convener SGC, then the account SRC buzo nibuzo kathiwani kuyavalwa kanjwa SRC iqhube no operations futhi ngosuku olulandelayo. I think na kanjalo ngasebenza, but ukungena uze uthi ngomhlambe singafuni ukuthi iSGC siyibone engathi structure esizaba superior kana comparison SRC, because remember yesterday we also told and we also know izinkokheli that SRC is recognized by the Higher Education Act and by the council, so we must not this thing of SGC. Then SRC budget, I also want to make my 2 cents here on ISRC budget. I think the ISRC must have budget, but the budget, not that one of programs, the one of moving, maybe you are attending a meeting, a council meeting in Port Alfred, they must be able to move. Because the programs, how can i-SRC of WSU make programs i-campus zohluke kangaka jonga mthatha let us say we are making opening welcoming bash in Nkomane i-SRC opening bash freshers bash in Nkomane abawufika nini abafundi basemthatha eNkomane. Unlike in other campuses, you see other campuses zime kanje zisondelene kanje campuses, so it's easy xa usenza other campuses of other institutions yabo like DUT, it's easy so ngoxa wenza iprogram institutional ukuthi bafumane bonke apha. So ibudget mayibe leyo ukumove nezinye izinto inkokheli eziyobe zikhokhele ngelo xesha eziyozijonga. Then SRC elections I agree with latter speaker and other members of this house that they must be next year April, based on the reasons that they've already put forward. They must be next year April, but also it must be the decision maybe of this house or the resolution of this house ukuthi njengoba sithi maybe akabe next year, are we then saying abantu that are currently leading by extended term, or we are saying a tax team must be appointed upon the lapse of their term of office, the tax team that will take SRC, take us to next SRC elections. That again will be the decision of this house. I cannot say mabahlale, I cannot say mabahambe ndodwa. I'm challenging the speaker that the speaker must raise this, save kuthiwa kahle kahle ba extendele okanye kanjani SRC. Hey, the last part speaker ngiyakubona. The last part is the portfolio is the portfolio of communications. You see that portfolio, maybe there must be another portfolio in the SRC of communications and administration. Someone that is elected that is SRC, but specifically dealing with issues of administration and communications. Because campus premier sometimes ufuneka update students. Now ufuneka uhlala phansi qala type party. That person whose communications must act as spokesperson, abhale his statement is SRC and the show ukuthi admin SRC ihamba kahle. Ngeke uzuthi ke lapho SRC yakhe yafela because upremier uzabe dilishana specifically with issues of operations. Mandibulele Chairperson, speak.
Sorry, just a moment, Honorable Kachu. There's something we want to take up for minute keeping purposes so that we have the submission very much clear. Are you speaking of an extension or are you speaking of task team? Because you mentioned two, and these two, sorry, constitutionally it's an interim. These two don't exist in one space. Or are you creating a contingency plan?
Or uxolo speak ngokuthi ndibe vague or ambiguous. Inkokheli honorable member SG Cross raised a discussion that SRC elections must be held in April. It did not say specifically next year April, but in April. Wachaza ukuthi why esitsho kanjalo, and also that discussion was also supplemented by other members. Now I'm saying, remember the council that will consider this our inputs. Kuthiwe engathi hlala ngoOctober pha eqaleni kwaOctober. Now going there, let us be clear kaloku ukuba sithini omphi ke uApril ekuthethwa ngayo. Now mna ke that's why I'm putting this ke ngokuthi siyanjani, if siya April siyanjani xa kuphela iterm yababantu ba extended ukuthi till April, or a tax team iyasthatha isise kwi tax team kwi elections now. That is what I was saying when I speak about. And yes, no, we are never in. Because members never said ukuthi next year April, they just said in April. So Africa Party adopted into April, then extend the term, maybe abanye abantu baphinde bakhalaze yabo. Okanye idisbandwe lento kube khona tax team abanye abantu baphinde bakhalaze, because also tax team, remember, it does not have executive powers. That is what I was trying to.
I believe you've left a pending motion to the House. That is noted.
Yes, thank honorable member. I think let me first address this issue. When we are saying that it should be on April, what we are referring to is that we're not talking about the current SRC. Badiniwe ngosababona nathi makudala beqhuba badiniwe mabaphumule bona. What we are saying is that since we're going to have elections now, these people are going to be elected now. They must know that on April they're moving out of the office. They must, if it is approved, we cannot go to tax team because we're having January during registration. We have SRS which has no powers. It's going to be a problem. But we can't go with this errors again. No, we can't do that. Let's have this one. We're going to elect now. But they must know that when comes April, they are out. So that one we are all in agreement. Secondly, I wanted to put it to the House. Remember, an ISRC. When we talk of SRC budget, it is the money that is taken from the students. There is no student as an international student who attends at BICA, attends at the NMD. So, it's all about student lamali. These people must not have budget. They are okay. If bafuna traveler, if not, student affairs is going to provide for them transportation, about transport. They are okay. If by mail, it's simple. Klauto, you are noted as the president of the I president, just say I'm not available if you don't have money. Don't worry. Student affairs will provide that one because we can't be here. We're talking of student money. Abantu banganamali, abantu college, but if you can't do that. Let's go again. But that the SRC must have money. I agree with you, leaders. We ask about the banana student. Let's figure classes are going. Over a shield, a quapin. Over and the perfume right to one is shampoo, I think. Yes. It means we are a season in Kokelenja. We call Mango Zayo, a lamb, you know, we tell you. I agree with you. But again, it's not the same mama constable for ESRCs. Here, ESRC, Kaibona service provider, Iboni code mine. Because lamb. No, let me continue. It's because I
Honorable
learned to
members,
between.
sorry, let me protect you. Honorable members, please refrain from speaking whilst the speaker is speaking. However or how much the speaker makes you happy, or however how much the presentation of the speaker is making you infuriated, this is the perspective of the speaker.
Thank you. So why I'm saying this is because now we have a leader that angakwazi ulead students kakuhle, because the moment bekhona issues ezifaka students ekoneni, lo muntu afaka students ekoneni ahamba ukuthengela uKFC, we have betrayed those students. But if una funding yakho wena awucenga nganto kulamntu, it means now in order basibe ne SRCs ezingathengisi students ku platform ezingafuni management, because this does not happen ku management. Let's be honest, Nkokheli, you know these things are happening, but the only way basizibula lezi zinto is that we give you something. But again, xa sele SRC says inikiwe ke ngoku le mali, sizozimonitor njani ke ngoku bazisebenzisa njani le mali? So I'm saying mina u20% wala mali abazobe befumana iba yi100 u20 mawufaka ku students ezingana funding for uJanuary xa register. We are saying that you say that le mali ufuna unceda students ngayo, okay, we are giving you, but support R20 nika la mntana ongana funding phayana. Because what is going to happen ngoku uzoba nabantu abaya ku SRC bebalile ba okay ndino NSFAS 1.5 plus nala R100 bayofuna imali phana, then kulo process students zingakwazi ukulida kakuhle because abantu babona imali phayana. Makayazi ba la mali sobe siyithatha sinike kwa students kwazona. Again Nkokheli, iSGC makube yiplatform, mayingabi yisubstructure. It must be a committee where SRC fully accounted xa shongolo hlobo. Sikubuza ba uthe phana ibika ubenzile ibest soba nezimzele ngayo, ubenzile uculture phayana. Sixelela ba usebenzise malini kula culture. Ukhuzana ufune malini kula culture. Ingenzeka ba ufunile, but now wathini? Now you must fully account to students. Xa uaccount Nkokheli ungezi uphethe phone, you must come with documents. Uze na uyibeka apha document. Uthi apha ufinance kanje kanje. Sibonise kaloku invoice yalanto. Usho ba kwezi carry packs drinks beziphuma phayana zingapho shova sifaka endlini yakho for ithombe zakho. You must tell us. Then the only way that it can happen is in parliament, because in mass meetings you only call in mass meetings thina xa kuthiwa khona echayo ngoku noma ngatshinto, we must call you to account in account students. Ngolo hlobo sobulala abantu bangathi bazipopulist bese abasizomgrilla xa sifika phi eparliament. Again I'm saying that in mass meetings akululanga ukudibanisa u25% we students. Remember, auditorium ilayisha abantu abayi 500. Now it's more than 1,000 xa uthi u25%. Let's say SRC mayibize mayihlale i-meetings ngokuvuma kwayo i-constitution, but at least sithi abantu evenyini there must be more than 500. Because I promise you, kunzima ukuba abantu abe-25 bavota nzima, but we are saying that mass meetings, we understand. Abanye abantu abattend, they know class mass meetings, social offers zinkokheli phana, funa ifeste zikubona buyi SRC, do those things, umephezulu uthini, iyababhora abanye abantu, nezilungu ezikhulu ibabhora abanye abantu. Now people abasafisha bangakwazi ukattend because balinde la 25%. We are saying thina ngoku la 25%, so long as students zifuna mass meeting, you must call the mass meeting and address the issue of students. And again, there was an issue of I think the top 5 must be conducted by podcast structures. Ibulala lantu ba ube nomuntu ongazusebenza because azabe akazo accountant how. And again, for constitutional matters up, how city SRC constitution, you are recognizing the podcast structure, but again, a limit by a constable, that is unconstitutional. So we constitution SRC ibe unconstitutional. I'm very surprised kukhona ne-advocates esikolweni. Kukhona advocates or professor, but azange bayibone plan, but the constitution is unconstitutional and we are governed by yona. We have people who call themselves SRCs, but they are governed by an unconstitutional document. That is very wrong. Kwakhona ndiyabula, thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, Honorable Sbu, there was a point leadership. This is for minuting purposes. You said the SRC we should go to elections from October or any time when the term ends of the current incumbent SRC.
Yes.
Then again in April we go to another SRC elections.
Yes.
Also in the same scenario, you spoke of having cost-effective measures for students. Won't this then be a waste of funds of students?
Okay, thank you. Leadership, what is not going to happen is to have a task team that has no powers.
Interim
Yes,
constitutional.
interim, yes. And again, what we're not going to do is to have the same SRC taking us to to registration. So I think the best way is like, no, but the House will deal with the issue, but I get your point. The House will deal with the issue.
Thank you. Thank you so much. The next speaker was Honorable Asif. To those who are Honorable Asif, all right, after Honorable Asif, it was Honorable Zipo. Zipo, you can come in. But to those who are online, we see your comments, we see your views. Thereafter, we are going to also include them.
Thank you, honorable members, and to the House at large. I think one thing we must understand is that the purpose of reviewing the policy is not that it will assist us now as the current leaders who are in power, but to try and enhance student leadership through its constitution of the SRC, meaning it must be a constitution that is going to serve even after us. Now, firstly, I want to go to the point of saying student activism must be promoted through student leadership. How are we going to achieve this? Student activism must be revived, meaning there must be a criteria to qualify to be a student leader in terms of the organizations and the activism on campuses, meaning if we get to a point of saying political organizations are going to contest the SRC elections as organizations, then it means that an organization, for it to qualify to appear on a ballot, it must exist in campuses, 3 campuses of the 4 campuses of WSU, so that we don't have a situation where there are certain campuses whose student life and student activism has died, and therefore also ensure that there is a conducive environment where it's a field of ideas shared through leaders of these various campuses. Number 2, we must go back to conduct elections. Last year we experienced a situation where the elected leadership could not enter into office immediately because there were underlying disputes in between. Now, it is clear to say that we can never then fully trust the online system, because none of us, in terms of the history of this institution and the current leaders, were accustomed to such a voting manner. Therefore, we're saying, let's go back to conduct elections. Abantu bayozivotela pha, because the problem, seside njengoku sihambe sithukwa si-underminwa and being called all sorts of names, is that we are a so-called self-made SRC. Now, it must be clear that when we go to elections, we want to go manual. Abantu bazibone whether we have won or not. Because you are going to find a situation where people will say, "Aye, you are a self-made SRC." But when you check on the day of elections, abantu bebephana balombuthi bebe 5. And when you check the party that has won, they've got 100 people. All of them are visible. Nala 5 yabo bincinci pha visible as well, but they are saying they don't know how they lost elections. But bebe 5. Sidlule. The rotation of presidency must be decentralized. You see, I said this earlier, that when you speak of the constitution, you must also speak hand in hand with the SOP. It must be addressed. This year, we almost got to a point of having to give student affairs the executing powers on behalf of students, of which that is wrong. The SOP says presidency and SG shall rotate within the 4 campuses, and no campus shall hold it consecutively. We must ask ourselves our question: how did those people first get there? Why are we going to allow the institution to decide on a process of how our institutional leadership is going to be elected? Institutional leadership must be elected by its constituency. Loo nto ithetha ukuthini ke ngoku? Ithetha ukuthi powers must buyele back kwabantu bazo. Because in the SOP it says, should, let's start kanje, Mosi constitution of ISRC, iti per campus kupuma 3, which makes up 12 for 4 campuses. Then you will vote. Now the blunder that you are going to have is that if 2 campuses stand together and say, Tina, we agreeing with giving, for example, Mthatha presidency, and it agrees, for example, with Butterworth, the same will go from East London and Queenstown. They also say, we also agree that we want president. And when it goes to voting, you have a tie. What does the SOP say? It says that the executive director, student affairs, will then have the sole decision-making right to say, which is wrong. Therefore, there must be no particular way to say that this must be done in terms of the selection of president. It must be democratized, meaning magavote president and SG, so that we know that the structure represents the entire institution. Term of office, one must be clear about this. Let's not beat about the bush when we go to term of office. I will make a typical example in my own campus, Butterworth campus. We went into office. However, when we went into office, we did not go into office because we had to wait, firstly, for a period of disputes that were filed after the election. Secondary to that, we had to wait because the date of constituting us as ISRC and SRC had not yet come. The problem with that is that the previous SRC then becomes the people who are going to sit on the meetings in between that period. Now the problem we faced is that an outgone SRC decided that we are going to write contact examinations for particular departments. We went in, Tina sekugqityiwe. We are the ones now who must discuss, but students are saying they don't want to write manual examination because of ABCD. Management will come and say, but kaloku the SRC, nani ningena nila SRC, even if ni tshintshile ngoku. That is the problem that we have. So when we say that the term of office, the SRC, must be from April to April, you must look at time and space. You can't have elections going towards examination. You are creating instability in the institution. 2, you can't have elections close to exams and that particular time of being busy, because you are creating a perception that student activism must only be active during that particular time, which is wrong. student activism must be throughout the year. And elections as well, maybe it's a political comment, but elections also, we all know they are not won during the election campaign and the election process, but during the year, as to how you are going to serve your constituents and your students. Therefore, in term of office, mayiqale ngo-April, iphele ngo-April. Let me address this elephant in the house of izawuba ngomphi kuzawuthini le SRC ikhoyo. Here we are speaking of two things. We are speaking of continuity. We are speaking of stability. We are saying izawuqala ngo-April, i-term iphele ngo-April. Sithini ngale SRC ikhoyo ngoku. We understand that the constitution that we are going to review is going to take us to the next elections. Therefore, we cannot then leave out the current SRC because it's going to play a factor. They are the ones who are discussing this. Therefore, they are not going to be considered outside xa kuthethwa ngabo. Uqala ngabo because ngabo bakhokheleyo ngoku. Which then means the current SRC term is going to be extended automatically if it goes to a council level and is approved to say term of office izawuqala ngo-April to April. Let's not be secretive about that because we are going to have a challenge into kokuba when it is extended kuthiwa nithengisile sorry kuthiwa nithengisile because yayisithi into iqala ngo-April nina ni-extendele ngelithini. If sithi i-extendelwa to April, then everyone must understand that the current SRC is going to be extended term yayo yawugqiba koku ihlalisa elections after the registration period. This then also speaks to how the election process is going to unfold as well because the voters' roll will have a direct feed from the office of the registrar so that we don't have this problem yosoloko sisithi abantu bangaveli kwi-voters' roll ibe luchuku. And understanding that we have got this view of saying elections must go back to manual. Ndidlule. Ndinombuzo. In terms of saying, and it's a question to the Honorable House at large and its members. Xa nisithi political organizations must contest elections. I have a clarity that I want to get. If you look at the model that we have now in terms of the constitution going to elections, xa ucontesta phayana, ucontesta as isiqu, as an individual. However, you are deployed by an organization. In a ballot, xa kuvela ubuso be-individual, kuvela ne-logo ye-organization. Now, the question I want to ask is that the problem that we have, is it with the ballot and how it is constructed, or is it with the contestation of the organizations itself? Because one thing we must understand is that whenever you are going, we must not contradict ourselves. Whenever we are going to SRC elections, we have candidate lists as organizations and not as individuals. Sawugqiba sizikhuphe as candidate list towards the students sithi thina singumbutho uBanana, thina singumbutho Apile sisubani. Now, I want to understand go xa usithi organizations don't contest elections, which are these organizations who don't contest elections? Because the individuals who are contesting now currently come from organizations, and it is represented there in the ballot to say that this one was deployed by Nantsiga, hence you'll find a logo next to that particular candidate. So I need a clarity to say, when you are asking, or when you are rather saying political structures must contest, how do you then make up that that model? Because you must understand, when you are saying you're coming up with an idea, it must be backed by saying this is the process we are going to follow and outline it properly for all of us to understand. Because the bone of content here, which I think is the process of recallment and the powers granted to political organizations once there is an SRC. And you must be careful of creating two centers of power within one institution. In terms of the portfolios of the SRC, you cannot have a treasurer that is not mandatory. It is a problem. WSU is faced with financial problems in terms of the administration. Treasurer plays a center role. Come special cases, the person that is there in the special cases committee is a treasurer. Come the financial committee in terms of the FinCom of the SRC, the chairperson of that structure is a treasurer, not the premier. So how do you then not make the treasurer a mandatory seat? Because you are speaking of student funds. It even goes to an extent of saying, classifika ku SGC, of campus levels and even of this nature, you account as an SRC. So u-account njani ke ngoku umgcinizimali engekho? Mna mandiyoma ndingu-premier ndithi sinikwe ibudget ye-1,000,000 sathatha i-500,000 sayisebenzisa pha sathenye i-500,000 sayenza into ethile yaphela. Kanti you need to understand what was the process that was followed, how much was allocated to each, and how much did it cost to come up with that particular program, and how did you allocate these funds, and what was the criteria used. That person who chairs that committee is the treasurer. Therefore, a treasurer in terms of the portfolios and construction of the SRC must be mandatory. Didlule. Diya kulendo ye SRC, ISRC and its budget. Let us be clear here. The policies that we have had, some of them have assisted in terms of the governance of the institution. However, the problem that we have is the implementation. Ukungenzeki kwazo. Ubhatala ibe khona ipolicy ambulance, ubhatala imali ambulance but ingabikho. So we need to have a structure that is going to ensure that the operations of the institution are operating as they should be. Now, in terms of the budget question, because in a conversation that we had is that previously, ISRC, xa isenza budget, xa inikwe budget, ithatha from campus SRC. That is wrong. Because that is not a campus SRC, that is an institutional SRC. Institutional structures are given their budget at an institutional level. It counts in and budget, ISRC, if you are saying it must be there, must come directly from the council. And the ISRC must account there in the council. And when we are making up, there must be a provision that is going to speak directly to the statute of the institution to say that going to council, you can't have an institution of close to 40,000 students and members who are representing those particular students are only 2. That is wrong. We have got campus heads here. These campus heads must be inclusive in the process and also in the process of saying that going to council, there must be a forum of premiers and the executive to say that they themselves account for their for their campuses. Lastly, there is a question, or rather, something that we must also address as the Honorable House. The legitimacy versus the authority in a case of SRC and substructure. That must be very clear. We cannot have a situation where we are dictated by substructures as the SRC on campuses. Uthi uvuka ngomso, ubona society decide uvale campus. They did not approach you as the SRC. Uthi uvuka ngomso, ubona umbutho uvale campus. They did not approach you as an SRC. When the Vice Chancellor comes and the council at large wants to accountability of to say what happened there, why is that particular campus closed, they don't go to substructures of the SRC, they go direct to the SRC. Therefore, in terms of the authority, SRC must be made clear that substructures account to the SRC. And SGC of the campus then will play its role in advising if the SRC then is misusing its powers. So it must be clear that we must also be careful of saying that we give the power undefinedly, so to say that there is no clear indication that this is the line. Iqala apha ipower ye-SRC iphele apha, iqala apha ipower ye-SGC iphele apha, iqala apha ipower ye-academic society iyophela apha. Nombutho ngokunjalo. This means we will be creating even an environment that is conducive of discussions. Lendo yokubana sithi xa sizama ukuba sakhe inkokheli, safuna ukwakha inkokheli ethi ukuze uvotelwe ngabantu okanye ucinga ufana bu-relevant, ube ngumuntu ozawukwazi uphakamisa isitulo ndisigqaye pha ngaphambili, okanye ndibe ngumuntu ozawuthi xa articulator okanye ndibonakale nditshisa estrikini. That is not leadership. We must do away with that. Leadership, we must know that in terms of the substructures of the SRC, it is clear to say. Thank you very much. As I am going to land, one thing I know that in Parliament, you must speak this thing clearly. One thing I want to pass by as I land is that thing of stipend. It's also an elephant in the room. No one wants to address it. Let's look at the other institutions. How are they doing? Let me make an example in Fort Hare. And no matter how it comes out tomorrow, we must be clear from the onset to show that you are honest, because when you don't want to go to a specific amount, there is a level of dishonesty. Into onifihla with students. Because uzabe le mali uzayifumana kuzo, so why hide an amount? If city the standard amount is awahamba ngokwe allowances esifumanayo, then the stipend ibe 1.5, it's fine. Or if sizawuthi benchmark kwezinye institution, for example, I know if Fort Hare SRC yakhona is around 3.5. Now we are going to look at the financial capability and stability of WSU. Can we afford to give SRC that much? It's a discussion for the House. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Zippo. It's Honorable Mevan, all right. Honorable Njinji, all right. Honorable Skonat, all right. I think Honorable Kaju, your hand is raised, leadership. Please do come forward and first tell us what's the color of your hand.
It's an answer. The color of the hand, it's an answer to the question.
So you're coming with an information.
Okay, let us say information for the sake of progress. The issue, when basically look at this thing there in the Constitution, it is saying mandatory seats are directly voted for. Now, in the PR seat, imibuthi yakwazi bapha ingene ngelogo yayo. Kwi-mandatory, in as much as iba khona ilogo yombutho, but it is there, nje for ukuthi ubonakala ukuthi usiwakomphi umbutho. You are not contesting. Imbutho ayocontesti pha. Now umbutho if ucontesta liya portfolio, we will know ukuthi liya portfolio yombutho siza kutsala chief ngenye imini xa ungasafuni ukuhamba ngalendlela, yabo. Unlike this current this part of this hybrid, it's more like this constitution hybrid ongaphelelanga, because we cannot be saying that contesta uphele apha umbutho but iphaka contesta independent candidates. Yabo, mandatory seats, the top 5 are independent candidates in as much as iba khona ilogo yombutho. Those people, that's why sometimes others, they do as they wish. They do not longer account. You cannot do anything to them. They are untouchable. Yabo. So nakhona ke seyikhona lento asizuba clumsy. I-recallment you cannot recall in the first 3 months, of course also in the last 3 months of the term. So that yenza le nto ungabi clumsy umane ukhupha ufaka. So that is what I was saying. Uthi umbutho mawuvunyelwe, it's not an issue even ngalendlela mayiqhube, but umbutho mawuvunyelwa na uconteste pha. Individually iya contesta, umbutho uya contesta, then umbutho later on uya deploy. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Kachu, for your assistance. Honorable Asive, I'm seeing your hand raised.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Umkhulu wa apha, Mr. Advocate Tia, uthi ucela uba offline xa sekungena yena.
All right. All right. Moving forward, I saw your hand, Honorable Bangu. Please do come and to color of your hand.
Thank you, Speaker. Kahlahle nje I'm partially captured by ama-speakers pha. Nginesicelo nje kuwe Speaker. ngiyabona la sezixoxile zonke policies ne, but we have a crisis with finance office where abantwana bengabuyelwa zimali institution bakweleta. Kani hambe nosikhangelela la financial constitution sikwazi abantwana babuyelwe zimali zabo, and secondly sikwazi ukuthi sibalance statement, but ke aba SRC constitution sibahle yonke into sihamba kahle because ngizafuna kugodwe.
Sokoni, Honorable Sokoni, Honorable Mangisa.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. No, I want to put it as a proposal so that ingabi into clumsy housing even to the viewers with regard to this gathering. That I propose it is to say, as we're having Dr. Mandasha in this session, in this parliament, sorry, as well as Advocate Dia. Now, I believe that there are even other members of the council who are watching this parliament as we speak, as well as the manager. So we can't allow the advisors to advise us in front of those managers as well as council members. Hence, we are proposing that we must close this live. Therefore, after that, we'll be able to be advised outside. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
I'm testing the proposal. I'm testing the proposal. Honorable Seda, Honorable Asive, and Honorable Mangisa.
Enkosi Speaker, also the board is sitting young. The proposal that is made by Honorable Cross on this basis. There's a sitting of a council that is going to sit and take a decision upon the amendments that we are submitting. The reason why you're having Mhlawumbe advocate is to advise the House in terms of how do we draft it and other way around. But the only thing that makes me to band move the proposal of Honorable Cross is that asinakwazi advise live bejongile because at sifika we cancel ibe sebe 5 steps ahead of us yabo. So I'm saying the proposal of Cross is assisting and moving with it. Enkosi Mfowethu.
Thank you so much. Honorable Asive. All right, you are going with the proposal. All right, it's unanimous. Yes. Do come, Honorable Mangisa, for your discussion.
Comrades, yes, thank you,
Honorable members.
honorable members. Yeah, I think it's just to put emphasis on the impact that has been done by the current constitution in making it a point that it deteriorates and kills the pillars of student activism and the involvement of organizations in the operations of the SRC and within what the SRC constitution is. I think when Comrade GY, Honorable Member GY was saying that we should allow organizations to contest mandatory seats, he was meaning that let us take it to how it used to be. I think 2019, when it was organization locals that were there on the ballot. Because this current constitution, if you can look at it, it promotes, first of all, populism. Because now, someone who just sells sweets on campus and is a favorite of everyone can just go and say, I'm deployed by the organization Mercedes, just for argument's sake, organization Mercedes. And people would vote for that person not on basis of content, not on basis of capability, not on basis of being able to attend to issues of students thoroughly. Now, they would vote for that person because they are popular on campus. And that's what leads the organizations at some point to just deploy people because they are wanted by people on the basis that they are known. Now, saying that we must bring back organization logos or on the ballot, It would also help us, as Honorable Member Chiwa had said, to kule issue yenansika ye representation in terms of gender, gender balance. When you go to organizations have BGMs whereby they are able to deploy. It is documented in every organization's constitution or whatsoever they use to operate, the issue of gender equality. It would assist us kuzophela lento yenzekayo amongst campuses, because it's honest. You go to Buffalo City campus, you have 2 females that are there on the ballot, or on the SRC. You go Mthatha, you have 2 females that are on the you have 2 females that are on the SRC. When you go to Butterworth, you have 3. So the rationality and proportionality in terms of the equality, in terms of gender balance, that thing can also assist us in that matter. And it would mean that organizations and student activism is being brought into campus. Now, it will come ngokulando ye recallment. Yabo, that organizations zisabanalo ibango to say they recall members zabo on reasonable period of time. Yabo, as to say, if every organization sees that Honorable Member Z doesn't fulfill what they had said on their manifesto, then they're able to pull him back, so that at the end of the day, student activism does not deteriorate on campuses.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Member, Honorable Mangisa, thank you so much. Honorable members, as we are about to take online comments, we have 2 motions that were left to the House by the Honorable Mangisa and Honorable Sipho. Could you please refrain from having a meeting whilst we're in the sitting? Please do come with your hand.
Thank you very much, Speaker. It's just a clarity, ne? If you remember, I said it's a question of how we want to shape the ballot. Now, when you're asking a question, you need to get the answers so that when you interrogate it at a higher level, you are able to give those answers. So the question now arises again, but at the ground level now, when the president is passing by, to say, are we proposing or are we asking what is going to be the structure of the ballot going towards election? So that is the question I was asking towards the House at large, which I think maybe was trying to be addressed by President. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Moving forth, the main bone of discussion here is the constitutional mode of election. Constitutional mode of election, which speaks to ballot. In the ballot, the House has not properly elaborated. In the ballot, will it be the logo of a certain organization, or will it be a face of a member of an organization? And the implications of having such. So it's a motion that was put forth in discussions, and I'm putting it back to the House for discussion. I see a hand. I'm taking hands for discussions on this motion. Honorable Gaju, Honorable Eric, it can't be just 2 hands. Honorable Seida, Honorable Mangisa, Honorable Bango. This is not a proposal. It is a motion which needs to be discussed. Honorable Snetemba and Honorable Mevan. Honorable Kanya as well, to close it off. I think I'm sneezing. Please do come.
Chair, this motion is serious because besiqale sayixoxa kwapha, that's why I say ibuya seyimotion ngoku seyifuna uzoxoxwa futhi. Speaker, I do not understand. I mean, I do not get when a speaker ukuthi where do we are we not understanding each other? The previous constitution, like President has said, an organization was able to contest and later deploy. An independent was able to contest directly voted by his or her followers. Uvalwe umkhusane. That's how the ballot must be structured even now. Our hybrid must be complete. Aniboni nama comrade, I mean members ukuthi apha this was done ukuthi imibutho ichithwe and also the student activism on our campuses when they are saying imibutho will only contest those seats that are not mandatory. Only we can recall there, but you cannot recall. They cannot account. They cannot do anything. So it's for me. I'm saying, Zoitu is fine. Individuals must continue to contest. Nemibutho mayivunyelwe contest pa. If phinde fune individuals zo contest ngapha ku PR, there must be no problem. Then kubonakala kucaca ukuthi yeyiphi which is which. Yabo. Hey.
Honorable Eric.
Thanks very much, Honorable Speaker. I think we're agreeing here as to say, because we want to kill that thing of popularism and whatsoever. The log of the organization must be there. Then an individual that wants to contest organizations or to contest elections can go with her or his face. Then again, I'm contrary to the views to say an individual can contest on PR because it's proportional representation, as to say you came with this number of votes as an organization, then those seats will be allocated as per the number of votes and the number of organizations that have contested. But then I get the point, is you can say I'm going for PR. Then if PR need maybe 1,000 votes to get one seat, then that individual will get that seat. Then in an event, an individual come with maybe 3 seats, but he's an individual, how are we going to attend to that? Hence, I'm contrary to say an individual can contest on PR. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Honorable Saida.
Yeah, Nkosi Sihlalo. Session. Mine is simple, but I'm not disciplined by one. The view that it must be the organizations that appears ungaveli mna ndikhatshwe ngumbutho wam mayibe ngumbutho ovelayo xa uvote ne, then it's upon the organization, because there's always been an AGM prior. After winning, there will always be deployment AGM of the organization. So either way around, we shall deploy, but in making sure that sikhupha laa nto yokwenza neporism ezicampusini naphi kubumntu enkala kakhulu okanye sesidzayiko makakokele icampus must come to an end. Uba une-likes ezininzi kufacebook must come to an end. The organization must come first, others, all of us must follow. Enkosi.
Thank you. Honorable Bango, then it was Honorable Snetemba.
Ivale speaker abantu abekho bakhulu ngaphezu kwemibutho.
Could you speak louder, leadership?
Ngithi abantu abekho bakhulu ngaphezu kwemibutho lento uthi ndijamba amacingo ndibulala izithunzela bese ndocontest ayirongo.
Thank you so much. Upon those who had raised after Honorable Bango, is there anyone contra to the view? All right. I think the House is in agreement. Furthermore, for record-keeping purposes, with Deputy Speaker, the mode of the House is that when contesting SRC elections, it is the organizations who will contest the mandatory seats as well as the proportional representative seats, PR seats. So next to the portfolio of Premier will be the logo of the organization and not accompanied or joined by a face of an individual. Then there is allowance for independent candidates who will then be the exception to this, who will then appear with their face because they are not aligned or assigned to an organization. This is the mood of the House regarding this motion. Moving forward, honorable members, I think we will hear our online comments. Due to time, we'll only be taking 2 comments from our online. However, submissions and discussions will further then be discussed on the conclave that we are going to have with Advocate Tia as well as Dr. Mandashe, which will be a closed session that is offline.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. We have a comment from Azasa Kezito. Iti comment, when we talk about gender balance, let us not forget quality and capability. As Mtara Campus, we have always been clear, we must not only check gender, but capability also. We also have a comment from Bukamo Sotsetse. Oti siyavumelana loko yombutho mayibe pha kumandatory kwenzela bakwazi ukwa-accounta lamaqabane kwi-organizations zabo qha qwaba. Then I think this one must be the second, if not the last one. From Snoyolo Mfaxa. The SRC must never think they are bigger than structures that deployed them. Sanozenzo Tito. The interpretation of political structures as substructures of SRC is wrong. Political structures are the ones who deployed you to the SRC. Now you find yourselves bigger than the structures that deployed you. Then in closing, I think we must take this one vela kanko. It is the term of the current SRC shouldn't be extended. Rather, an interim SRC should be elected with a term of office ending in March 2023. Then from April 2023 to April 2024, a new final SRC should be elected. Thank you very much.
We've noted it. Thank you. Thank you to our online audience for your fruitful submissions. Honorable members, before we go offline, honorable members, I would like just to get a point of clarity for record people's sake on what Honorable Bango raised, which was a policy that we should go and look into. You did not name the policy insightfully. Could you please come up so that we can see?
Thank you once again, Speaker. Upper Speaker, ne, sine problem ye institution. Ekunika statement esithi NSFAS refund. Ube ukwelete esikolweni. When you call NSFAS, akunika statement esingaveli nokuthi khona imali ebuyiselwa. we have that problem. Students are owing izetifikate aziphumi because of finance unezinto izistudents ezingakwazi uba ne-input kuzo. That's wrong. Izistudents ziyakwazi uba zibe nebhasari, ibhatala ibhasari kube khona i-change, but i-institution ekutshena ukuthi asikwazi ukunika i-student imali. That's wrong. So as the parliament executive, hambani niye ku-finance nisibolekele nje la constitution yabo la policy bayisebenzisayo, sikwazi ukulungisa nje ezindawo ezincinci ezi-affect i-students, because awuzukwazi ukuthi umntwana athi apasa izinto zakhe zihamba kahle kuthiwe i-change yakhe ayizukwazi ukubuyela kuwe, and akuzukwazi uba kube khona imali ezibuyiselwa kwaNSFAS kodwa abantwana baqhubeka basheke namatyala.
Thank you so much. Much noted. I'm seeing a very interesting comment here so that we can be able to add it as well. It says also this notion that political structures are substructures of the SRC is very wrong. But we will just, sorry, no, it's not for response, but it was just a comment. All right, but we're proceeding to the conclave now with Advocate Tia. Or there's a response on the floor. Please raise your hand, Honorable Member. You are the last person. I'm taking your hand, but you are the last in this session. Please do come.
Enkosi speak. I'm the first and the last. Can we correct or tender information here, so that you won't be seen as abantu that don't see or do not progress? The issue of political structures being substructure of the SRC is in the statute of the institution. Akufuneke sixoxe ngathi sixoxe farm up, were guided by the statute, also by the constitution. So if ever is there any way around we can do it, masingayenza part. Ndonqena laa nto bengasiyeke ihambe nje la comment ongathi mhlawumbe there's something that we're hiding. But in the statute, which is the only thing that is recognized in the institution, that is substructure of the SRC. Your things and other things we can done it, it's all in as an organization. But in terms of the statute of the WSU, you are the substructure of the SRC. I think Mama Mayezek, Nkosi Mfowethu.
Thank you so much. Honorable members, we are going to proceed with our conclave. Now, however, I'm told here that there is another motion that we did not discuss that was left pending to the House, was the issue when then are SRC supposed to take place, elections supposed to take place, because in the House you had two differing views. I remember it was Honorable Spoo who had raised a vague view of April as well, however, October. Then there were other views of October, then there were views of April. Oh, Senza Gomes. All right. All right, thank you. No, I'm informed by that a decision was taken. No? We are closing off the session. I'm seeing honorable members are building temples of Babylon with their water bottles. Thank you to the online audience for joining us in this sitting of the Institutional General Council. We will be back also tomorrow. We will be back live tomorrow from 9 in the morning with resuming of the session, plus presenting the holistic inputs of the ISGC with the various amendments to peculiar policies as well, to each and every policy. So I'd like to thank you. Thank you so much,